On the Tahitian island of Huahine, Yoshi Sonoto from the Bishop Museum has made a remarkable discovery. 2 planks from an ancient voyaging canoe. Buried for 1,100 years, these are the only pieces of an ancient canoe known to exist today. At one end of the planks, Sonoto finds evidence of lashings. This canoe was held together with sennit rope, just like the canoes on Setawal. In 850 AD, a tidal wave inundated this site, burying hundreds of objects in a protective layer of mud.
Yoshi!
What did you find?
Another hook.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Nice, huh?
Yeah, that's form.
Early.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the other ones we've been finding.
Yeah, just like early Marquesan one. You see that curved shank and the notch inside?
More than 200 fish hooks have been found. This one was used for catching small reef fish. This pearl shell coconut grater is shaped like those used on Setawal today. This is a pendant, an insignia of rank possibly worn by a chief. So many pearl shell artifacts have been found at Huahine that Sonoto now believes the site was a village where goods were manufactured for trade. In another part of the village, the archaeologists discovered a spirit stone, part of a temple, Omarai. Here, the men of Huahine performed rituals prior to departing on a voyage.
34 centimeters wide. Okay, let's measure the entire length.
One last wooden artifact suggests the size of their canoes. 13 feet long. This was a steering paddle for an 80-foot canoe.
Okay, the total length is 3 meters and 88 centimeters. And now this is not a complete paddle, is it?
I don't think so, because you can see many, as cut marks and very roughly outlined. So not well finished. The people are making or manufacturing paddle here, which means that the canoe also.
Right.
Haramaru. Okay?
1,300 years ago, the people of Huahine fashioned this plank for a large voyaging canoe.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, aparo mai tae? Hai aparo. Hey.
Such canoes would have carried the Polynesians on epic voyages of colonization to the furthest reaches of the Pacific. Polynesia was settled in a vast ocean migration, which began when the Lapita people arrived in Fiji, Tonga, and Samoa more than 3,000 years ago. At about the time of Christ, they swept eastward into the heart of Polynesia. From here, they launched their longest and most difficult voyages of exploration to New Zealand, Easter Island, and Hawaii. More than 15 centuries before Captain Cook, a Polynesian canoe made landfall in the Hawaiian Islands. This is the Halawa Valley on Molokai. 10 years ago, archaeologists found traces of an ancient Hawaiian village on this site. Now overgrown with vegetation, this was home for the island's first settlers. Bishop Museum archaeologist Dr. Patrick Kirch.
About 600 AD, a group of early Polynesians arrived here in the Halawa Valley on East Molokai. Now they found in this valley just the kind of environment they might have been searching for. Ample fresh water, lowlands where they could cultivate their taro, gentle valley slopes where they could farm sweet potato and other dry crops, and along the coastline out into the bay, an ample supply of shellfish and fish. I excavated right here in this low mound and found the remains of their early settlement site. From patterns of post molds and stone alignments, I could tell that they lived in small, round-ended huts, and scattered in amongst the huts were stone adzes, fish hooks, coral files, ornaments in shell and bone, and the styles of these artifacts were similar to those which had been found in Tahiti, the Marquesas, and other islands to the south. I also found here bones of dogs, pigs, and chickens. This is interesting because it suggests to me that these people came here on a purposeful voyage of colonization. What's so interesting about the Halawa Valley is it serves as a kind of microcosm for the development of Hawaiian society from initial settlement right up through the evolution of complex chiefdoms.
Seduced by their island's abundant resources, the Hawaiians gave up their voyaging and began farming the rich valley slopes. In each valley, chiefs rose to power. They fought each other for control of entire islands. Great temples celebrate their conquests and their gods. In the final centuries before Captain Cook's arrival, the chiefs of Hawaii waged frequent warfare.
This is a dwelling cave here in Kona, which was also used as a refuge in times of war. The site is unique because of the stick figures or petroglyphs, which the commoners who lived here pecked into the glassy lava walls of the cave. Here we have a human figure with a canoe paddle raised above his head. Here's a similar human figure. Again, he holds a canoe paddle above his head. This looks like a fish hook. It's interesting to speculate that much of the development in Hawaiian society came originally out of the nature of long-distance voyaging. The navigator-in-chief had to have unquestioned authority if the voyage was to succeed. The crew who were with him had to believe that he would lead them to a new land. And so I think it's possible to say that much of the development of powerful chiefdoms in Hawaii came originally out of the society of the canoe.
In 1976, the Society of the Canoe is reborn. Hokulea is an exact replica of a Polynesian voyaging canoe.
This just will be at the front of your halyard. Right. The halyard up? Yeah.
Built with modern materials, her design is ancient. Hokulea will sail between Hawaii and Tahiti to celebrate the age-old skills of Polynesian canoe builders and navigators. The canoe carries a crew of 17 and 6 tons of supplies. Hokulea's voyage will be made as it was 1,000 years ago, without maps or instruments. She will be guided by Malpiailu.
Yeah, maybe.
David Lewis, a Western navigator and scholar, has joined the expedition to learn Mao's way of navigating. The passage is 2,500 miles, far longer than any Mao has made, and he is sailing in unfamiliar waters.
The first few days I was afraid. But I've been through all this before. I've sailed at sea for many nights, and I've survived many storms. So I put aside my fears, and I was happy to be at sea again.
As the sea miles slip by, the Hawaiian crew gain a new respect for their Polynesian ancestors.
The Polynesians used to navigate the way we do today, without instruments or charts. They had faith in the words of their fathers. This is what we call courage. With this courage, you can travel anywhere in the world and never be lost. Because I have faith in the words of my ancestors, I am a navigator. I learned these words as a young boy in my father's canoe house.
On Satawal, Mao passes on these teachings to a new generation of navigators. Mao begins with the simplest framework, what we might think of as a star compass. 32 lumps of coral represent the rising and setting points of stars. The compass is oriented to the east. The rising of a star called Milap, the big bird. Mao's compass is defined by the rising and setting points of stars. Milap always rises to the east of Satawal and sets in the west to define 2 compass points. Mul rises in the northeast and sets in the northwest. This is Tumor. The stars of the constellation we call Southern Cross always point south. The axis of the Earth's rotation points at the star that never moves, Wulawulafang, the North Star. Mao's star compass is a simple teaching device. The nighttime sky is actually far more complex. In June, the stars move across the eastern sky like this. Tumor is rising and can be used to steer a canoe to the southeast. By midnight, Tumor has risen too high above the horizon, so Mao will steer by another star, which appears later in the same place. 6 stars follow the same path as Tumor. Each compass point is defined by many stars. In all, Mao has memorized the paths of more than 150. After 20 days at sea, Hokulea nears the equator. Tahiti lies 1,400 miles away, and Mao steers toward the rising Tumor.
And now, which course are we steering now?
About Tumor.
Oh, Tumor.
Yeah.
Oh, better. So that's about southeast.
Southeast,
And,
yeah, yes.
Tumor is where Antares, the
Yeah.
star Antares, we call it.
Oh, then
When he rises.
yeah.
We see him later on tonight.
1,000 miles from Tahiti, Hokulea encounters heavy seas. For 8 days and nights, clouds obscure the sky, and Mao is denied even a glimpse of his guiding stars. He maintains his course by relying on other signs. A skilled navigator senses every rising and falling of his canoe. Even when he cannot see the swells, he can set his course by them.
This wave, where is it coming from now?
From Maynard?
From Maynard, that's just north of east.
East.
Yes.
And another one from Mern, northeast.
Oh, yes.
Another one from southeast.
So even at night you can feel the wave.
Yeah.
Hokulea has now sailed more than 2,000 miles through changing ocean currents and shifting winds. Yet Mao always knows the direction and distance to Tahiti. Daily, he fixes Hokulea's position by estimating course and speed, and all the other forces acting on the canoe. The map Mao sails exists only in his mind. Yet over 2,500 miles of ocean, his estimated positions are never more than 40 miles in error. On the 30th day at sea, he accurately predicts landfall within 24 hours. Mao's quest is fulfilled. He has brought ancient navigational skills back to Polynesian waters and reawakened a people's pride in their great voyaging heritage. Hokulea's arrival was celebrated as a national holiday. 20,000 spectators crowded the shores to greet their heroic brothers.
The trip to Tahiti was very good because it will remind those people of what their ancestors did and make them want to learn about it. Our ancestors valued navigation as a source of pride. Children today are different. Some are afraid to learn navigation, and some are just lazy. Without navigators, Satawal will be abandoned. Everyone will move to bigger islands like Truk, Saipan, and Guam to look for jobs. Now only the old men, the men of my generation, love to navigate and want to see it continue.
Marcar social more faricar preparing. Parangan irma. Nenang netaer. Oh nenia ne eu kota ne apa.
I don't know what will happen to my son-in-law. I think he will leave the island and take my daughter with him. Many of my sons have already gone. I gave them my blessings. My son-in-law went away to school. Many of the men of my crew have gone to school. I was sent away too, but when I came back, I continued to study navigation. I never lost interest. But most of the younger men who went away to school had no interest in navigation when they came back to Satawal. That's the reason I won't let my youngest son, Cesario and Stan, go away. I want them to stay here and learn as much as I can teach them before I die. They can go to school here, but not on any other island. I want them to stay here.
You get to school? No, worker. You're snaring? Snaring? Look.
I wanted to make this film because when the young people see it, they may begin to understand how important navigation is. I have already told them that if they don't study navigation, we will lose it forever. The film will make them think about what we are losing. That's why the film is important. Because I'm afraid that after my generation, there will be no more navigators.
Hale lukan. Wasang ada ni boleh sari kan perban. Temu ada perban rumah. Betul ni kau rasa? Esok tu ni pergi lau. Di perut. Darah buat. Siapa ni ngamar ramang? Weh, polisi tu. Lagi nak ke mana? Weh, sangat cak. Supaya. Lagi ni marah apa? Fiji. No, I for